Hey gang, welcome to Mzansi and USA News. Here is the reason why Nigerian men really marry South African women. And you're going to hear this from a Nigerian. But further to that, here is another reason why Minister Schreiber should go. Again, you're going to hear it from a foreigner and his experience with his fellow foreigners. Check this out.
The country that gets married to
South
local South African ladies and
Mm.
Nigerian.
Yes, yes, yes. Our brothers married here so much. So married in intention to get papers.
Okay.
Some of them married intention to get children. There are people who don't have that deep interest.
Okay.
Their interest is just to get the papers. Some of them married with no evil intention. Are you hearing me? I'm
Okay.
speaking from facts.
Okay.
Some of them married and said, I want to go with this person forever.
Okay.
Some came here married intentionally because of papers. So it depends.
Okay. Talking about paper, what do you think the South African
So before he continues, did you hear that? Some married because of papers. How evil must you be to marry someone for any other reason save the real intention of getting married to somebody? That is love and an intention of having children, right? And what to call a godly offspring. What is the other reason to be married? This is amazing. This is rather shocking, right? These guys keeps on inventing new evils. Nevertheless, let's hear him out.
Okay. Talking about paper, what do you think the South African Home Affairs Office these days is very difficult for foreigners to have paper.
Nowadays, they are reshaping things. Are you hearing me? What
Yes.
they are doing now, if you are legally married here,
Mm.
brother, like in my church, there are people that we are not giving papers before. It says this government came in, they have started releasing their documents. Three people gave testimony and I witnessed it.
So now you are saying that Home Affairs now
They are working.
they are working. They are
Yes.
giving out paper. They are
Papers.
issuing out paper.
Yes. They are
Okay.
giving out papers. Formerly, scrutinization, they will examine you. They will do this. They will do that. Forge examination. Are you hearing me? But
Yes.
now, this man said everybody wants to. He wants everybody to be documented.
That's nice.
Yes,
That's nice.
very nice. About 6 months ago, people were, even the papers are being released. Are you hearing me? So it's better that everybody must be documented. And it's very easy now.
All right. Nice.
Did you guys hear that? Schreiber's intention is to get every illegal foreigner in our country documented. That is exactly what Julius Malema is pushing. For the first time, I can say publicly, Julius Malema and the DA are pushing exactly the same agenda, and that is to fill South Africa with illegal migrants. Guys, remember, this is a New World Order agenda. That is why if you are a person who follow international news, you would know that this has already been happening in America since Joe Biden took over presidency 3.5 years ago, wherein they open up the borders with Kamala Harris. If you follow American politics, you will be shocked and amazed how identical their issues are to what is happening in South Africa. The Black Americans are complaining about what is known as replacement theory, wherein it appears as though the Democrats' government has opened up borders for a huge influx of illegal migrants, and they are giving them benefits that they otherwise would not even give to what is known as minorities, that is Black Americans in America. And they are literally taking jobs that would otherwise be occupied by Black Americans. So now come back, fast track, and come back to your own country, South Africa. What has been our major issue regarding these illegal migrants? Apart from the crimes that they commit, Nigerians sell what we know as powder, right? There are so many of them in our jails, right? Because of this powder. They are involved in human trafficking. Zimbabweans are involved in copper theft and so many other illegal activities. Mozambicans, you just saw last week, in fact, this week early, a Mozambican who killed a 6-year-old. He raped and killed the girl. Can you imagine that? So now, this is very important for you to bear in mind that for me, well, it's not even for me, it's about our laws. Our laws are saying, say if you have special skills, what is called scarce skills, South Africa should not necessarily bring you in here, right? You can come as a tourist and leave. Unfortunately, that's not what Nigerians do. That's not what Mozambicans do. That's not what Zimbabweans do. They come here on a visitor visa and then they overstay their visa and then they become illegal. They start dodging the law and so on and so forth. Can you see that? That is a problem. And if you paid attention to this guy, what he's saying between the lines, he is literally motivating his fellow countrymen because, hey, Schreiber has made it easy for you to be legalized, right? Did you observe that he did not necessarily criticize the fact that so many of them are marrying South African women for documents? He did not criticize it. He simply said some are coming here and they are marrying for documents. Others are marrying because of love, whatever reason you want to look at it. My point is this. If you look at the jobs occupied by Zimbabweans, Mozambicans in the restaurants, those jobs are not scarce skills. Even when they start spaza shops, that's not a scarce skills. Those are jobs that in countries like Lesotho, in countries like Botswana, are specifically reserved for citizens of those countries. And this makes sense, by the way, to say all the lowly jobs, all the jobs that don't require high skill, that they don't require a degree, that they don't require a certain specialty, those jobs should be reserved for those individuals who are South African by birth, who for one reason or the other, or even maybe because of our former legacy, of our history of apartheid, maybe they didn't manage somehow to make it in life. That's who those jobs are supposed to be reserved for. So to then fill restaurants, hotels, you have spaza shops for the 1% in Gauteng. No, not 41%, 49% in Gauteng of spaza shops are actually owned by foreigners. Surely that cannot be accepted. It's not something that we should be tolerating. But I just wanted to bring these 2 points home. Did you hear what he said? He acknowledges that many of his fellow Nigerians, well, he didn't say many, he said some of them. It's me who's saying many, because there's far too many of them who get married and then down the line they break that marriage because the reason for that marriage, it was a marriage of convenience. This is to South African women. Wake up. You are being used. Right? You are literally being used, and this cannot be good for your children in the future because it's going to affect them detrimentally. Now, also, to all of us as fellow South Africans, I think we need to wake up to what Schreiber is doing and start pushing against the New World Order global agenda of the globalists. The DA are clearly globalists, and that is why, remember, I've made a video early when I started this channel about how that Ramaphosa was a globalist. That is why the DA has been supporting Ramaphosa the way that they have been supporting him to the nth degree. They have even been willing to withdraw their push for Phala Phala, meaning they are willing to ignore the crimes he has committed simply because he is a globalist like them. Now, the globalist agenda is to make sure that the natives in the country are literally diluted in their country of origin, right? Why? Well, you could ask them why they are doing that. There is evidence everywhere. They've done it in Australia with the Aborigines. They've done it in America. They are doing it in South Africa. Right now, they are trying to literally replace Black Americans with illegals from Haiti, from Mexico, you name it, and even people from the Middle East. And if you look at the so-called minorities in America, today when you're listening to their news, they're no longer talking about only about Black people. They are also talking about Latinos as some sort of minority. who have a say on the vote. That is why Malema wants these individuals to be documented, because Julius Malema has a dream of becoming a president of this country. And if you look on TikTok, you look on social media across, you will see that most Africans think Julius Malema is the best thing to have happened since sliced bread. Can you imagine the disaster that we are going to face? That in our own country, we're going to have foreigners who are voting, having voting rights, because that's the next thing they are going to be voting for after they are documented. Schreiber must go. I'm quite convinced of this. Schreiber is not serving South Africa's interest. Motsoaledi was doing a sterling job there. And we must question why Ramaphosa removed him. I can tell you why Ramaphosa removed him. It's clear that Motsoaledi is not a globalist. It is Motsoaledi who told us how that the ANC government is being given money by the UN to keep these foreigners here. It is Motsoaledi that was being taken to court multiple times by the NGOs to try to ensure that he doesn't deport Zimbabweans. It is Motsoaledi who was taken to court to extend the ZEP from Zimbabwe. It is Motsoaledi that has been taken to court. My goodness, the list is endless. How many times Motsoaledi has been taken to court by these NGOs who represent foreign nationals, illegal foreigners in our country. And guess what? The very individuals who are heading these NGOs are themselves illegal in our country. Guys, we are under siege. There is a need for us to rethink what is going on here, because before we know it, we're not going to have a country. It cannot be that we have such an influx, because it is rumored or speculated that approximately between 15 to 21 million of that 60 million people are literally foreign nationals. They are not South Africans by birth. They are not part of the 11 languages that we speak in this country. That is a serious problem. That explains why we have such high unemployment rate of youth. I mean, I remember very well when I was still youth, I used to work during the so-called vacation holidays. Today, it's very difficult for our kids to find vacation work. Why? Because all these shops, what would otherwise be done by children, it's now being done by people who are seeking work from full-time from these foreign nationals like Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Malawi, you name it. Can you see that? What would otherwise be vocational work is now being done by these individuals. We're talking about something like packing shelves at Pick and Pay, something like merchandising, something like serving waiting tables in a restaurant like Spare or whatever other restaurant. Those things used to be done by us as South Africans when we were students. But today, South African children who are students or who are matriculants who are just looking for a gap year are struggling to find those menial jobs to put money in their pocket to start saving, even for a career for that matter. Because, hey, I mean, as a waiter, apart from the tips, the money that you get in total easily is between 7 grand and 12 grand a month, right? So that's a good amount of money that you could set aside if you wanted to do a degree and you are coming from not such a well-off family, and for some reason you didn't pass your matric in a manner that you could get a bursary. Of course, in South Africa, we also have NAFSAS, right? But nevertheless, don't want to make this video long. It's remarkable that you can have a Nigerian sitting here in our country admitting what Nigerians are denying all over their social media, right? What does that prove? It proves that they are a bunch of liars, right? That would do anything whatsoever it takes for them to stay in this country. By the way, I appreciate the truth this gentleman is telling. And as a matter of fact, in a different video, he goes further to state that it's easy to find a job in South Africa than it is in Nigeria. And don't take my word for it. That should be my parting shot. I'll play that clip. And that will be my parting shot for this video. Until the next video, ciao, ciao. Listen to this.
Typically, when she finishes her practical, she will get job because there are plenty jobs in South Africa, unlike home.